Somewhere out there, a man runs 5 miles every single day. He eats clean, tracks his macros, and never misses a workout. Yet his stomach refuses to shrink, no matter what he tries. Meanwhile, his neighbor never exercises, eats regular meals, sleeps early, and stays lean. This is not a coincidence, and it is not luck either. It is not about genetics, and it is definitely not about willpower. The real answer is something far quieter, far older, and far stranger. It has nothing to do with modern workouts or modern diet culture. It has everything to do with how your ancestors simply lived their days. Long before gyms existed, before calorie apps, before fitness influencers, humans stayed lean. They never counted a single calorie or followed a structured meal plan. They moved, ate, rested, and slept in rhythms shaped by evolution itself. Those rhythms quietly controlled insulin, cortisol, and how the body stored fuel. Modern life shattered those rhythms, and your waistline is often the receipt. We treat metabolism like a machine you can fix with one workout. 30 minutes on a treadmill, one hard session, then back to sitting. But your body does not respond to isolated effort. It responds to patterns. When you eat, when you move, when you sleep, all of it matters. Get those patterns wrong, and even brutal training struggles to touch stubborn fat. Today, we are uncovering 5 ancient habits humans practiced without even trying. No gym membership required, no extreme diet, no complicated tracking spreadsheet needed. Yet modern science confirms these 5 habits reshape insulin, fat storage, and energy. Once you understand why they work, everything you believed about fat loss shifts. The secret was never about exercising harder or suffering through another diet. It was about living in a way that makes stubborn fat unnecessary altogether. Think about that for a moment, because it contradicts almost everything we are taught. We are taught that fat loss is a math problem, nothing more, nothing less. Eat less, move more, and the number on the scale eventually falls. But bodies are not spreadsheets, and fat is not just leftover unused fuel. Fat is a response, a signal, a reaction to how you actually live. Quick note before we continue, because honesty matters more than empty promises. Everything here comes from real research in metabolism and human physiology today. This is educational content, not medical advice, and never a diagnosis for you. Everybody is different, so always speak with a doctor before changing your lifestyle. Now, let's understand exactly why this stubborn fat behaves so differently than expected. Most people picture fat as a soft layer sitting just beneath the skin. That surface fat is called subcutaneous fat, and it is mostly cosmetic. The dangerous fat hides much deeper, wrapped tightly around your vital organs. It surrounds your liver, your pancreas, your intestines, silently interfering with how they work. Scientists no longer see this fat as passive, harmless, or simply sitting there. They now describe it as something closer to an active hormonal organ itself. It releases inflammatory chemicals directly into your bloodstream, hour after hour, day after day. These chemicals interfere with glucose control, insulin sensitivity, and your entire immune response. Over years, this fat becomes tightly linked to diabetes, fatty liver, and heart disease. This is exactly why doctors watch waist size more closely than total body weight. Here is the twist almost nobody talks about, and it changes everything. This fat does not respond to simple math like calories in, calories out. It responds to hormones, signals, rhythms, and timing far more than raw numbers. Insulin, cortisol, leptin, and growth hormone act like switches inside your body. They quietly decide whether your body burns fuel or locks it away instead. When these switches get flipped wrong repeatedly, visceral fat accumulates almost effortlessly. Constant snacking keeps insulin elevated non-stop, practically begging your body to store fat. Poor sleep spikes cortisol and disrupts melatonin, two hormones tied directly to fat storage. Sitting for hours drains your muscles of activity and slows your metabolism down. Chronic stress pushes your body into a defensive mode, built purely for storage. Combine these modern conditions, and stubborn fat becomes almost the default outcome. Ancient humans never experienced this hormonal chaos, not even once, not accidentally. Their daily rhythms naturally balance these same hormones through movement, fasting, and light. They never tried to be healthy. Their environment simply made health unavoidable. Notice something important. None of these causes involve willpower or personal failure. They involve rhythm, timing, and biological signals most people never learn about. This is genuinely good news because rhythm can be rebuilt far easier than genetics. You cannot change your DNA, but you absolutely can change your daily patterns. This means the frustration many people feel is aimed at the wrong target entirely. The problem was never a lack of discipline sitting somewhere inside your character. The problem was a mismatch between ancient biology and a completely modern environment. Understanding this sets the stage for the 5 habits we are exploring. Ancient habit number 1 is deceptively simple: walking right after you eat. Today, most people finish a meal and immediately collapse onto a couch. Historically, eating was never followed by long stretches of total stillness. Hunter-gatherers kept moving after meals, gathering food, exploring, traveling, working, surviving. That simple movement completely changed how their bodies processed incoming energy. When you eat, carbohydrates break down into glucose, flooding straight into your bloodstream. Your pancreas releases insulin to shuttle that glucose into cells for use. In a sedentary body, that glucose often has nowhere productive to go. Excess glucose gets stored as fat, especially around your midsection, over time. Walking changes this instantly because contracting muscles absorb glucose almost immediately. This happens with far less reliance on insulin than sitting still requires. Your body clears blood sugar faster, avoiding the dramatic spikes that follow meals. Lower spikes mean lower insulin responses, and lower insulin means less fat storage. Multiple studies confirm this effect clearly, with measurable results in short time frames. Just 10 to 15 minutes of walking after eating lowers post-meal blood sugar. Participants who walked consistently showed dramatically better glucose control than those who sat. Over weeks, this builds stronger insulin sensitivity and steadier long-term fat regulation. Walking also avoids spiking cortisol, unlike intense workouts performed under chronic stress. It calms the nervous system while still activating muscles and stabilizing blood sugar. Imagine replacing 3 sitting sessions daily with 3 short, relaxed walking sessions. Over months, this single shift can quietly reshape your entire metabolic baseline. This does not replace serious exercise, which still matters for heart and muscle, but metabolic health depends on repeated small signals more than occasional intense effort. Think about how differently your grandparents likely lived compared to you today. Chances are they walked to work, walked to shops, walked almost everywhere daily. That was never a fitness routine. It was simply an unavoidable part of life. Modern convenience removed that requirement, and your metabolism quietly paid the price. Reintroducing it costs nothing, requires no equipment, and takes barely any time. Walking after meals proves that ancient movement patterns still outperform modern stillness. Ancient habit number 2 has nothing to do with structured strength training. It is the simple, constant act of lifting and carrying daily objects.
Before gyms existed, strength training was woven directly into basic daily survival. People carried water, hauled firewood, dug soil, and transported heavy tools constantly. These repeated efforts placed steady tension on large muscle groups all day. Muscle tissue plays a massive role in regulating blood sugar and metabolism. More active muscle means more efficient glucose handling and better insulin sensitivity. Muscle is also metabolically expensive, burning calories even while your body rests. More muscle mass quietly raises your daily calorie burn without extra effort. Less muscle mass shifts your body towards storing energy instead of using it. Lifting also triggers hormonal signals that promote repair, growth, and glucose absorption. These signals turn your muscles into efficient engines instead of passive storage. Modern life separates strength training from daily living almost completely nowadays. People sit for hours, then attempt to compensate with one short workout. Ancient humans squatted, pushed, pulled, and lifted hundreds of times every single day. You do not need fancy equipment to recreate these same biological benefits. Carrying groceries, doing push-ups, or lifting heavy objects recreates the same stimulus. The goal is not intensity, the goal is simply consistent muscular resistance. Regular resistance improves insulin sensitivity, making carbohydrate processing noticeably more efficient. It also directs nutrients toward muscle tissue instead of dangerous visceral storage. This shift in nutrient direction is one of metabolism's most powerful mechanisms. You do not need to become a competitive lifter to gain these benefits. Your body simply expects regular mechanical stress to keep metabolism fully responsive. Without that stress, your metabolic system slowly becomes sluggish and less efficient. There is nothing romantic about hauling water or carrying firewood for hours daily, yet that unglamorous effort built resilient joints, strong muscles, and stable blood sugar. This is why farmers, movers, and manual laborers often stay lean without dieting. Their daily work provides the exact resistance stimulus modern gyms try to recreate. You do not need their job, you simply need their pattern of movement. Small, repeated resistance woven into your day quietly rebuilds this ancient advantage. With it, your body stays equipped to burn fuel instead of storing it. Ancient habit number 3 involves something modern life has almost completely erased. That missing piece is natural, unstructured, biologically respected eating windows throughout life. Today, food is available constantly, at every hour, in every possible location. Many people eat within minutes of waking and continue snacking until midnight. This keeps the body locked in a nearly permanent, constantly fed state. When you're constantly fed, insulin levels rarely get the chance to drop. Your body almost never shifts into its powerful fat-burning fasted state instead. Human metabolism evolved to cycle naturally between fed states and fasted states. Ancient humans faced long gaps between meals simply because food was scarce. During those gaps, insulin dropped, allowing stored fat to finally get used. This flexibility between burning sugar and burning fat defines a healthy metabolism. When fasting begins, insulin drops and the body starts accessing stored energy. Glucagon rises, glycogen releases glucose, and eventually fatty acids get mobilized instead. Even short fasting windows can gently restore this ancient metabolic rhythm again. Allowing 12 to 16 hours between dinner and breakfast creates real change. During that window, insulin falls and your body becomes far better at burning fat. This is not about starvation, extreme restriction, or skipping meals entirely. It simply respects the natural cycle your metabolism was originally designed around. Constant snacking also confuses hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin significantly. Spacing meals apart helps your brain distinguish real hunger from habitual eating. Lower baseline insulin makes stored energy far easier for your body to access.
Improved metabolic flexibility means smoother transitions between different available fuel sources. Over time, visceral fat becomes far less necessary as an emergency reserve. Consider how strange constant grazing would have looked to an ancient human. Food was earned through effort, not grabbed from a cupboard every few hours. That scarcity, uncomfortable as it sounds, actually protected their metabolic flexibility completely. You do not need to recreate scarcity, only the natural rhythm it produced. A simple overnight gap between dinner and breakfast can restore much of it. No apps, no strict rules, just a natural pause before the next meal. The goal is simple. Allow your body regular breaks from constant digestion. Ancient habit number 4 has nothing to do with food or exercise. It is something far more basic and far more often overlooked: sleep itself. For most of human history, nighttime meant almost complete, uninterrupted darkness. Fire, moonlight, and stars were the only available sources of nighttime light. The human body evolved using darkness as a signal to regulate hormones. Modern life floods our nights with screens, artificial lighting, and constant stimulation. Your brain interprets this light as daytime, disrupting melatonin production significantly. Melatonin does far more than help you fall asleep at night. It also influences insulin sensitivity, inflammation, and how your body stores fat. Disrupted melatonin misaligns your internal clock with your body's metabolic processes. Over time, this misalignment contributes directly to insulin resistance and appetite disruption. Sleep deprivation raises ghrelin, your hunger hormone, while lowering leptin, your fullness hormone. This combination pushes your brain toward craving sugar and refined carbohydrates constantly. Poor sleep also raises cortisol, shifting your metabolism toward defensive fat storage. Much of that stored energy accumulates directly around your abdomen over time. Consistent, dark, quiet sleep restores the hormonal balance your body naturally expects. Darkness triggers melatonin, shifting your nervous system into genuine recovery mode instead. During recovery, tissue repairs, hormones stabilize, and metabolic regulation quietly improves overall. Ancient humans never had to think about optimizing their sleep environment consciously. Their surroundings did it automatically, guided entirely by natural daily light cycles. Today, recreating that darkness requires deliberate effort and consistent daily habits. A dark room, less screen time, cooler temperatures, and consistent schedules help enormously. Notice how differently your body feels after one truly dark, uninterrupted night of sleep. Compare that to a night spent scrolling under bright artificial light until midnight. The difference is not just energy, it is measurable hormonal chemistry inside you. Darkness is not old-fashioned, it is a biological instruction your body still needs. Even small changes, like dimming lights an hour before bed, produce noticeable results. Your body responds quickly once you give it the signals it was designed for. When sleep aligns with your internal clock, your metabolism becomes noticeably more stable. Ancient habit number 5 is something modern convenience has almost completely eliminated. That habit is simple: constant, low-level movement spread throughout the entire day. In the past, physical activity was never separated from ordinary daily living. People walked constantly, gathered food, built shelters, and stayed physically active non-stop. Today, even people who exercise regularly often remain sedentary for most hours. Scientists call this hidden movement NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and it matters enormously.
This includes standing, walking, stretching, fidgeting, and simply changing your posture often. These tiny actions add up to a surprisingly large portion of daily energy. Some people naturally move constantly, while others remain still for hours straight. This difference alone can account for hundreds of extra calories burned daily. Frequent movement keeps fat-burning enzymes active and blood circulation flowing steadily. Prolonged sitting suppresses these same processes almost immediately after you sit down. Standing or stretching every 30 to 60 minutes noticeably improves metabolic markers. These tiny interruptions prevent your body from settling into prolonged metabolic inactivity. Spreading movement across your entire day matters more than one intense workout. A single workout followed by 10 hours of sitting loses much of its benefit. Ancient humans never faced this problem because stillness was genuinely rare for them. Their bodies stayed in constant light activity throughout almost every single day. Reintroducing this today does not require dramatic changes to your entire schedule. Stand during calls, take the stairs, stretch often, and change your posture regularly. Notice that none of this requires scheduling, motivation, or a single ounce of willpower. It simply requires awareness of how long you have been sitting still. Set a reminder, stand up, stretch briefly, and return to whatever you were doing. That tiny interruption is doing far more metabolic work than it appears to. These small actions accumulate quietly, protecting you from prolonged metabolic inactivity daily. When you combine all 5 habits, a clear and powerful pattern emerges. None of them require extreme workouts, harsh diets, or complicated daily routines. Instead, they quietly influence the hidden signals controlling energy storage and energy use. Walking after meals stabilizes blood sugar almost immediately without any real effort. Lifting and carrying activates your muscles as powerful engines for burning fuel. Natural eating windows restore your body's ability to access stored energy easily. Deep, dark sleep regulates the hormones that quietly control appetite and storage. Constant daily movement prevents the prolonged stillness that modern life encourages everywhere. The real power behind these habits lies entirely in their daily consistency. Human metabolism evolved expecting these patterns to happen naturally every single day. When modern life reconnects with these ancient rhythms, your body slowly finds balance. Fat loss stops being a constant battle and becomes a natural byproduct instead. None of these 5 habits demand suffering, restriction, or hours inside a gym. They simply ask you to move a little, eat with rhythm, and sleep in darkness. Small as they sound, together they rebuild the exact environment your metabolism expects. Your ancestors never optimized anything. Their world simply built these habits in automatically. You now have to choose them deliberately, but the biology underneath remains identical. Start with just one habit this week and let your body adjust naturally. Add another the following week, then another, until the rhythm feels effortless again. This is not a race, a challenge, or a 30-day extreme program. It is a slow return to the way your body was always meant to function. It was never about forcing your body. It was about finally understanding it.